Hey you! Yeah, you, playing Pokérogue. Did you know that you don't need crazy powerful legendary Pokemon to beat Classic Mode? Put away that Primal Kyogre. Retire that Reshiram. You don't need them. You don't need 600 base stat totals. You don't even need 500 base stat totals. I'm going to show you how to win with Pokemon that you can catch on Route 1, or the Pokérogue equivalent, which is the town biomes wave 1 to 10. All you need to win at Pokérogue is Pig. Route 1 Pig. Wave 1 Pig. Pig. It's Oinkologne. Am I saying that right? Oinkologne? 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 No, it's cologne, like the perfume, right? Oinkologne may seem like your standard normal type loser Pokemon that youngster Joey's pal day and cousin might throw at you, but it's got a couple of tricks up its trotters that will help you roast your opponent. You'll be porking Ivy in no time. Alright, so here's the deal. Oinkologne gets an extremely interesting egg move. Fillet Away. Or Fillet Away, as we say in England. But Fillet Away sounds awful, so we'll just... Fillet Away works kind of like Belly Drum in that it cuts your Pokemon's HP in half, and then sharply raises their attack, special attack, and speed, all by +2. Now, you might be thinking that this is a risky maneuver on a Pokemon with base defenses under 80, and you would be absolutely right. But Oinkologne has a few ways to make this more reliable. Gluttony is a passive that triggers berries at 50% HP instead of 25%, meaning that Oinkologne can trigger berries such as Citrus Berry, Ganlon Berry, and Apricot Berry upon using Fillet Away. These berries restore HP and buff defense and special defense. So, providing Oinkologne can survive one hit, it's going to pull off the move and be in prime position to sweep. But wait, there's more. Oinkologne is not a complex beast. It fillets away and then it sweeps. Simple, right? Simple. Right. Oinkologne's passive ability is Simple. Simple doubles the effects of stat changes, good and bad. What this means is that Fillet Away becomes quite possibly the best offensive setup move in the game. You can get to +4 attack, special attack, and speed in one turn. You can trigger all of your berries and then sweep through whatever dares to stand in your way. This all comes together to make one of the most reliable setup Pokemon that you can fit onto any team for the low cost of only 2 points. I don't know what these are officially called. Are they called points? 2 points. I recently used Lechonk on my mono normal run, alongside some other great normal types such as Boom Burst Noctowl, coming soon, TM. And this little fella absolutely tore through all of the rival fights, Team Magma, half of the Elite Four by himself. Oinkologne gets a few other tools in its kit to help set up this sweep. Importantly, it gets Milk Drink as an egg move, allowing you to heal up manually after you Fillet Away. If you would prefer a more offensive setup, then you can forego Milk Drink in favour of more coverage. Dig is a useful option that will help you against Eternatus and Rock types, but I went for Blazing Torque, another useful egg move that provides coverage against Steel types, which I've found are far more prevalent than Rock types in the important Classic Mode fights, your rival fights, your Elite Four fights. For your main stab, there's quite a few options. I personally went for Headbutt, a good middle-of-the-road move that provides a chance to flinch and decent 70 base power. You might prefer Covet, a 60 base power thief type move. If grabbing berries is more your preferred playstyle, you can take that. There's far more powerful recoil moves such as Double Edge available, but I wouldn't recommend them as you're going to end up fainting before you manage to pull off all of these crazy 6-0 full team sweeps that this Pokemon is capable of. If you're lucky with TMs, Body Slam is quite a common TM, and that's probably the way to go. 85 base power, chance to paralyze. And finally, there is the rare egg move Multi-Attack, which is 10 PP, 120 base power normal move. And it is hands down the ultimate attack for Oinkologne. Unfortunately, I don't have this unlocked to show you any gameplay, but I imagine this is just beyond broken, as it's almost twice as strong as Headbutt with no downsides. A quick tip for when you're using any Pokemon with the Gluttony passive, or just a general berry tip really. If you want to save your best berries for the important fights, such as the Elite Four here, what you can do is you can just put all your berries on a Pokemon that you don't think is going to see much use in that fight. Or in this case, I have a bunch of items on Diggersby thanks to its pickup passive. So what you can do is you can just store the berries on that Pokemon, And then, as I'm doing here before the champion fight, you can just move your citrus berries and your stat up berries onto Oinkologne before the big battle. This way they aren't wasted by taking a random critical hit in a normal fight. You will run out of berries quite quickly because Gluttony is activating every time you use Fillet Away, so this can be quite an important thing to consider. Now, Oinkologne is a Pokemon that requires a little bit of planning to use. It's not guaranteed to be able to get a Fillet Away off against any and every Pokemon, so I wouldn't advise leading with it all of the time. What you want to do is, you want to bring it in when your opponent is losing a bit of momentum and has switched to maybe a tankier Pokemon that isn't going to be hitting you very hard. In this mono normal run, the rival has an Appletun that he brings in quite early in each fight. I've learned that it's going to use Leaf Storm and reduce its own special attack. So what I do is I bring in Oinkologne, Milk Drink a few times to tank the damage for a few turns, and then when he's good and weak, that's when we hit the Fillet Away. And then it's almost always just a 6-0 after we get that move off even once. I have been cheeky and used it twice a few times against the rival, but most of the time that is overkill. So with this in mind, Oinkologne does need a little bit of support. It's not quite able to solo everything like the Dusknoir set that I talked about recently. The pig does need a little bit of planning, bit of help from teammates in some situations. Here I've got a couple of good fighting resists. We've got Hisui and Zoroark for complete immunity, in fact. But you can bring along all kinds of things, like maybe a Pokemon with the move Parting Shot, so you can weaken an opponent and set up on them easier. Or moves like Light Screen, Reflect, Aurora Veil. It's much easier to get setup moves off in Pokérogue than it is in competitive play. So as long as you plan ahead, you should be able to find an opportunity to Fillet Away all day. Once you start unlocking egg moves and passives in Pokérogue, a lot of great strategies will begin to open up to you. Oinkologne isn't great in the 200 fight. It will struggle to damage Eternatus even after a Fillet Away, so you're going to need to bring something else as your primary strategy in this fight. It might do a bit more damage with Dig, but I haven't used it, so I'm not too sure how it would fare there. Luckily here I have Heliolisk with a few soft sands that's firing off strong ground moves. I've got EQ Diggersby in the back too, and I've got Noctowl, who is using this cool Psychic Noise move for super effective damage and to stop Eternatus from using Recover. Though Boom Burst actually out-damages even a super effective Psychic attack. It's so good. You should try Boom Burst Noctowl if you haven't already. But this is not the Noctowl video, this is the Oinkologne video. I thought it would be fun to feature some of the less popular, underused Pokemon. Maybe the Pokemon that don't get much love. I actually hated Oinkologne until I used it. I kept running into Lechonk like all the time when I was looking for other stuff in Scarlet and Violet. And it felt kind of like a Paldean Zubat with how much I was running into it. Like a stupidly high encounter rate, and it just kept getting in my way. Although the Zubat Evo line is one of my favourites of all time, so I don't know what that says about me. But yeah, that's Oinkologne. It's broken. Try it out.